No country for you.
No country for young fellas.
More, yes, country for young ladies.
This is you at a pitch meeting.
1, 2, 3, 4.
These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that micro-bait shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.
Yum.
Oscar Wieners.
Welcome to Oscar Wieners, the only show in the country, Hollywood's biggest night is actually an oxygen tank with like a fucking bolt gun attached to
it. What is that thing?
It's fucking What's he crazy got? Is what it is.
It's pretty awesome. I'm not a murderer, but if I were, pretty slick weapon to use.
I remember when I first saw this movie, and like the openings, like within the first like 3 minutes of the movie, first of all, within the first 3 minutes of the movie, Javier Bardem has killed 2 guys.
Awesome.
But the second guy he kills with that thing, and I was like, holy shit. This is like the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, when he's getting taken away in the cop car and the little tank is sitting next to him in the passenger seat, it gets like its own little screen time, and I'm like, what's the deal with that?
That's the kind of thing now where like if they had like a screening in the city or what, like New York City or whatever, like people would clap when the oxygen tank came on screen. Like the movie's been out long enough where it's like, oh my god, it's the iconic thing.
There it is. The credits roll. Oxygen tank is played by fucking Daniel
Jeff Bridges.
Lewis. Yeah, Jeff Bridges. Good casting for that O2 tank for sure.
This is a podcast where every week we pick a Best Picture winner at random, and we try to figure out if his Best Picture worthy. This week we are talking about the 2008 Best Picture winner, No Country for Old Men, written for the screen and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen, adapted from Cormac McCarthy's 2005 novel. I am Javier Bardem's haircut.
And I'm Slick Biscuit.
Limp Bizkit's cousin.
A little sticky for sure, but we get along.
No, I'm Mike. He's Ander. And we're talking No Country for Old Men, which is a film where we've already covered it a little bit, but Josh Brolin plays a character named Llewellyn Moss. He's out hunting one day and he stumbles on a kind of drug deal gone bad. There's like a bunch of dead. There's like 5 or 6 cars in a circle, and then there's a bunch of dead people. I believe it's supposed to be like the Mexican cartel.
Yeah.
In one of the flatbeds, there's just like so much heroin.
Yeah.
He figures out, he's like, there had to be a last man standing.
Yeah.
And so he's like, where would he have gone? He probably would have gone that way. And he finds him, and he finds the last man standing has died. He's sitting under a tree in the shade, and there's a briefcase of $2 million. And Llewellyn Moss is like, I live in a trailer. Maybe I should, I don't know, gank this money.
Yeah.
He ganked it.
He did just gank it. He's like, let's just go down this ride. And then I guess he goes back to find out what he's up against. Is that why he goes back to that whole scene?
No, like when he's sitting in bed and he's like, all right then. And he gets up like in the middle of the night.
Yeah, he gets up in the middle of the night. He already has the briefcase and he goes back to where he found all those dead bodies.
No, so he goes back because there was that one guy who was like shot and he was like dehydrating and dying, and he was like, he was asking Josh Brolin for water.
I thought he was gonna maybe interrogate this guy and ask him some questions about
No,
who hired you and whatever.
Right. I think he was just going back to bring him water because like he kind of couldn't get that off his mind, which is like this
That's
movie is so
insane
good
to me. I don't know.
It's insane. Personally, I wouldn't have done that, but this movie is so good about showing who characters are by the things that they choose to do. Like
Yes.
even Josh Brolin figuring out that there had to be a last man standing and that he probably was looking for a shady patch of land to just like kind of sit under and die.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, hot that he can track like that. Personally, I think
Hot
that's cool
of him
and hot
to know how to do that. Okay,
yeah, that's hot and cool.
Yeah, he is a hot and cool in this film.
He is.
Yeah.
He's like such a regular guy, but he also like knows how to do a lot of shit, which
Yeah.
I guess is just like
as a guy, I'm like, hell yeah, he can do shit. You know what I mean? It just appeals to that innate sense of masculinity within.
Andrew, what'd you think of this movie?
I think it's fantastic. I think go watch Old Country for New Men, 2.5 Men. Go watch it. If you're watching it, go watch it again. If you're not watching it, what are you doing? Just go watch it. The problem I have with it is that I was largely confused as to the logistics of what was going on plot-wise. Like, I do feel that too much expository dialogue in your movie is never a good thing. It's like, all right, fucking just let me be in the movie, okay?
This movie heard you and was like, fine, it's just gonna be all forward momentum.
Yes, the Coen brothers heard me, took it to 11, and I think that's part of what makes it interesting, but it's also part of why I am often lost reaching for what's going on. I think it definitely warrants a second viewing, which I will do. But there are so many points where I'm just like, what is this person's motivation? Like, I kind of needed a few things spelled out. Because there were, throughout, I think half the movie, Anton Chigurh, who we haven't even mentioned yet, I'm like, what's he doing? You know what I mean? He's kind of just this loose cannon psychopathic murderer. But he obviously has a mission. He's trying to retrieve this briefcase. And I didn't really know where he came from, why he has this tracker. You know, I think I figured out towards the end, but it took a long time for me to figure out what his motivation was. Even what Llewellyn Moss's motivations were. Like, I know obviously it's $2 million in a briefcase. You want that. You want that guap. But I think there was more to that I wasn't quite getting. And it feels like the Coen brothers purposely just scratched the surface on it. And they're like, you guys can just like think about it, figure it out, or don't. We don't really care. We're just going to keep moving forward. Which is a cool choice. I just felt lost at times.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm going to say that the Coen brothers are like reading the book and then they're like, how can we like completely strip this down to the bone? Because like to me the biggest thing of like who are these people and like is the people who like hired Anton Chigurh, which is Stephen Root. He's the actor. He's like the guy in the big office building behind the desk, and then like Woody Harrelson goes to see him.
Yeah.
I'm like, who are these guys?
Yes. When you get to that scene, I'm just like, why are we in a building? Why are we in like Dallas now? This is so weird. You're just like, in the desert the whole time.
Yeah, it's like a really, you could just see like out the window behind them. It's just like a really bustling downtown, like skyscraper city.
So that office dude, he's orchestrating the drug deal, I presume.
But who is he? Like, is he
no one,
like?
It doesn't matter.
That's the thing. Is like,
matter.
is he like a CEO and then like on the side he's doing drug stuff, or is like he operating out of this big office building?
No, I think he probably has a legitimate business, and then this is probably another big revenue stream where he conducts these huge heroin sales.
Right.
That's just what I guessed.
Yeah. Well, that was like the thing where it's like, it literally doesn't really matter exactly who these guys are. They want the money.
Mm-hmm.
The Mexican cartel also wants the money. Anton Chigurh is sort of in the middle, just like as an agent of chaos.
Yes.
Who like wants the money, but as soon as he gets it, might like throw it in the ocean.
Well, he's also hired by Office Man, right?
Yeah.
He's like I think he's like a cleanup guy. Like if there are any loose ends, or if obviously the money was not retrieved, so maybe he was sent to go get it or something.
Yeah.
Which was a huge mistake. Why would you? I
But
wonder
then-
what his resume says, because he's an insane person.
But then there's that funny scene where it's not funny, but like he's taken by these like two guys who I assume work for office building man
Yes,
to
I
like
think so.
the site of the deal gone wrong.
Yeah.
And like they're just showing him around. They give him like that tracker thing, and then Anton Chigurh's like, cool, and he shoots both of them.
Yeah.
It's like, what is his play?
Well, his play is his whole everything he does is based on his code, which it's clear that he has one, and I'm still not quite certain what it is, because it dictates all of his behavior throughout the whole thing. And I guess part of his code is that if you see him, you die, basically.
Right.
He's like death incarnate. He's like, if he just wants to be completely invisible, if you've interacted with him, if you know who he is, you should not exist on Earth.
But then there's certain scenes that complicate it, like the coin toss scene with
In
that
the gas station?
guy.
I watched that thing 10 times, man.
It's a great scene. It's like incredibly written. The performances are so good.
If you don't want to watch the movie, just go watch that scene. It's like it's so it's self-contained too. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, even without context, like from the rest of the movie, like if you watch that scene, you're like, oh, Javier Bardem, as silly as he looks, is like so menacing.
Yeah, he does. First of all, he does look very silly. They did a perfect job in just creating someone who just incites so much unease in a viewer. From his haircut to the way he talks to his expressions, he changes his expression drastically in between sentences. Like he'll be there's like when he does he's fucking eating cashews menacingly. Like he's just a menacing guy, which
he wears like a Canadian tuxedo, just all denim.
Yes. He looks great. He looks great, by the way. Javier looking good.
Yeah, like, so I don't think he kills the guy in the gas station. He might.
No. I don't think he does.
I'm not sure he kills, I think, Laura Jean. Is that her name?
Carla Jean?
Carla Jean. Played by Kelly MacDonald.
I think he does. I think he kills her big time.
Right. Especially because he's like, call it. She's like, no.
Which was awesome. She was like so brave in that scene.
So I read on Wikipedia that apparently in the book, that scene in the book is like she reacts much more like a person who's about to be murdered, and she's like scared, but it's like such a good, like, it makes her character, like, she has like very few scenes in the movie, but she does give a great performance though. But it gives her character such dimensionality just in that one scene at the end when she's just like she's just been through so much. She's like,
she's
just
so
fuck off,
resigned.
Anton Chigurh. Like, my mom's dead, my husband's dead. Eat my whole ass.
Yeah, for sure.
With your fucking duality bullshit, like heads or tails, like fuck off.
Yeah, and
Kill
she calls him
don't.
on it. She calls him on his bullshit. I think that's also part of his code, and the reason why he didn't kill the gas station guy and the accountant or whatever. There are certain people he comes into contact with where he just decides.
That's the other guy I was going to mention. Yeah.
Is that he's so fixated on the concept of fate and destiny and chance. So he'll decide, someone he's kind of like, he's a lot like someone who's like really obsessed with astrology. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I'm a Pisces. You're a Pisces? That's crazy. I'm going to fucking kill you. That's his twist on it, is that instead of being charmed by fate, he's just, wow, that's cool. You're destined to die today.
Right.
And it makes him feel, I guess, powerful, which makes him that much more threatening.
Yeah. Like, I do think Llewellyn Moss and Anton Chigurh are like a lot alike in that they almost don't see themselves. I feel like they both almost don't believe in that they like have a choice over what they're doing. It's almost
Good
like
point.
life, like the universe is just like doing its thing, And Anton Chigurh is like, he's like, I kill people because like it's just like I'm hunting this guy. I'm doing the things I am because a force larger than me is like operating through me or something.
Yeah, which is crazy. I
Yeah.
think I
Fucking
like
rules.
it does rule, and I think that aspect of Anton's character is the scariest. I think in the beginning he's the most threatening because he is pure chaos. He's just an agent of chaos. He's so random and psychopathic that you truly don't know what he's going to do. Once he starts introducing his whole code of quote unquote ethics, I think he's still interesting, but I think he becomes a little bit less interesting because you can he's not predictable, but you get a sense of why he does the things that he does. I kind of like the idea of him just being a totally random killer with no motive. He just likes the thrill of it and wants to feel powerful. I think that's the scariest thing you can convey.
Yeah. What's funny about the coin thing is he only does it sometimes.
He does
Like,
it twice,
it's not a thing,
I think.
right? It's not a
Yeah.
thing he's doing every time. Well, I guess does he do it with the accountant? No, right?
No, he says to the accountant, because the accountant asks if he's going to kill him. And Anton basically goes, that
Do you
depends.
see me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you see me? And you're like, oh shit. And you know that dude said, no, I don't know what's happening. I don't know who you are.
Closed his eyes and was like, nah,
yeah,
nah, nah,
I
nah,
didn't
nah,
see.
nah, nah.
La, 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 la. The coin flips are obviously, a cool cinematographic choice. Cinematographical.
We have to start over.
A cinematographical choice.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And a cool visual thing. In fact, call it.
What?
Heads or tails. Call it.
I don't know. What am I calling for? Like, what is at stake?
Everything is at stake.
Everything is at stake.
What's the most you ever lost in a coin toss?
Like a fucking Pepsi free. Like 0 calories.
Really? You lost that?
I don't know, probably.
Call it.
Fucking God, your haircut's so bad. Heads.
Okay. Shit.
Shit.
Fuck. It
Does that count, or does it have to hit the table?
Well, it's under the desk now.
Oh shit.
Do you have any change?
This is insane.
I just want to have a friendly little coin toss.
You're tossing a coin for my life, and you want to borrow change. You sort of have to have a backup quarter if you're gonna.
Fate, I guess, decided that I don't have change. Oh, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
This is a legitimate. I mean, all my questions are legitimate, but is Anton flat broke? Part of me wonders if that's why he does the things he does. He doesn't pay for that gas or his fucking cashews. He doesn't pay for his medicine that he has to take when he gets shot. He breaks into every motel he's ever been to.
I never thought about that. I just always saw it as like, actually I've never thought about it before. I've never thought about it at all. Like, I think that is funny. I think because of his whole philosophy, he's like, why the fuck would I pay for shit? Money is like completely artificial and stupid.
Yeah, I guess. I just think maybe he just doesn't have any. Which, we've all been there, but
lint.
I mean,
he wants the 2 million because he has no money.
I kind of wonder if that's the case, actually.
Yeah.
What does upset me is that as much ado is made about the money and the $2 million, it is so inconsequential by the end.
It truly is a MacGuffin.
Yeah, truly. It matters not even one lick.
Nobody even gets it.
No,
right?
It's just we don't know who ends up. It's like I guess the
Mexican cartel, yeah.
But I don't know if it was guys that were hired by Office Man or just other unrelated guys. We don't really know.
Yeah.
It kind of just ends up in God knows whose hands.
Should we talk
Yeah.
a little about Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay, yeah. Talk about Tommy Lee. You know I could always talk. I'm always talking about Tommy Lee Jones.
So I wrote down watching this movie. In this movie, Tommy Lee Jones looks like my dad.
Really?
Like kind of like how my dad looks now, just as he's
Okay.
aged.
Yeah.
Um, and my dad is not from Texas at all,
Why
not even
not?
close.
Okay.
But he has a similar vibe to Tommy Lee Jones, I feel like a little bit goofy, but also serious at the same time. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just like was watching it. I was like, this guy reminds me so much of my father.
Hey, Dad, come down for a sec. Don't you
You know
ever
what's funny?
remind yourself of Tommy Lee?
I feel like I remember when this movie came out, like on DVD, my parents renting it because they were like, "Oh, I've been hearing so much about No Country for Old Men," and I feel like
Mhm.
I distinctly remember them finishing it and being like, "How was it?" They were like, "Stunk, stupid, has no ending. It's stupid, just ends. What's that?"
I do get that reaction because the ending is so sudden.
That's why I want to talk about Tommy Lee because it's a way to transition into the fact that like the first two thirds of this movie are like a pretty a very quiet but still pretty like propulsive thriller where it's just
Hmm.
like a cat and mouse. Anton Chigurh is chasing Josh Brolin or Llewellyn Moss.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting and it's really like it's just really exciting.
Hmm.
And then Llewellyn Moss is killed off screen.
Yeah.
And then Tommy Lee Jones is rolling up on the scene as like right as it happens, and the car that does filled with the people who killed him are driving away, and then the movie just kind of becomes about reflecting on
Yes.
like this is why I think Llewellyn Moss and Anton Chigurh are like similar in that they're both like being like cosmically pointed in the direction of like violence and turmoil, and like they don't really have a choice about it because like Tommy Lee Jones is almost like us, and he's like, what the fuck, what is the world, like what is going on, how am I expected to keep
Yeah.
living in it when it like makes zero sense.
He's the interpreter.
Yeah, it's like that's like the third act becomes him just sort of like sifting through the last two thirds of the movie and being like, what was the point of all this.
And yeah, you could argue that we also thought what was the point of all this. I did have that thought. I mostly didn't care because I thought it was a cool, fun ride to be on. Um, who do you think? Who do you think is the main character?
I almost think Tommy Lee Jones is the main character.
I think it's
Cause he
Anton.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because well, Tommy Lee Jones, Sheriff Bell,
Bell, yeah.
Sheriff Bell. He doesn't affect enough of the plot. Like I think he's kind of this role of narrator or interpreter. Um, he kind of conveys the moral of the whole affair. Um, and you know how you never kill off your main character. I think the second that Llewellyn was dispatched just so easily off screen, I really think it's Anton who's kind of driving this whole bus. I think he's explored much deeper than some of the other characters, and he gets to survive. He's the only one who really gets to see the consequences of his actions.
I like that take. I I think the reason I think it's Tommy Lee is
Mhm.
because he's like the only character whose like psychology we understand.
Yeah,
All the
that's
other
true.
characters are truly just like we said, like we've already said, they're literally just like whatever. They
Yeah.
represent like chaos and like greed and whatever. But Tommy Lee is like, I had a dream. Fucking crazy.
Fucking
Um,
crazy dream I had. What is his dream? He just meets up with his dad, and his dad go. Is that like the whole time? I'm expecting him to be like, "This is no country for old men." I'll tell you what, but it never happened. It never came. I guess that was the no country for old men part because his dad in his dream goes off to heaven or whatever, and then Tommy's like, "I should retire."
yeah. How do we interpret the dream? I mean, I think he has that line where he's like, I'm now, he's like, I think he said, what does he say? I can't remember if he says in the dream, but he's like, I I'm older now than my father was when he died, so I'm technically the older man.
Right.
Um, I think I want to like I don't know. I think the dream's about like seeing yourself. What is the dream about?
I don't really know. I think there's so much that gets lost in the pondering of it all that
Right.
I think that's where I get miffed a little bit. Where I'm like, okay, why is this message so over my head? Am I just not grasping it? Is it just that obscure? It doesn't feel like there's substance to it. It just kind of feels like a dream. I guess it would be weird if he was like, I had a dream that there was this psychopathic murderer going around and there's this guy with a briefcase and he had a weird haircut. I guess that would just be too on the nose, but
Yeah.
it felt a little bit loose and up in the air.
Fucking rules though, personally. I like that his wife is just like listening and she's just sort of like it truly like like her reaction shots when they cut back to her, it's truly somebody listening to somebody's dream
Yeah.
that they think is really interesting.
Oh,
Like
totally.
they're like, I had this crazy dream, and then they're like, okay, that's like kind of boring and doesn't really make any sense.
She's like,
so.
I don't really get it.
Yeah.
But and then he also has two dreams. The first dream was like something totally. He's like, I had polka dots for skin, and I was fucking flying through the.
Say that. I think he's
something.
like,
It's something inconsequential like
I
that.
think, yeah, I think he's like the first dream I fucking went to a diner and ate a sandwich, and then I went fishing, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Let's explore that dream. I want to know what that's
what's that about?
Like, what's going on, Tommy?
Because if you had ham or bologna, that's significant. That's
That
telling
is
you
significant.
something.
Yes, bologna means death, and ham means birth, as we all know.
The Coens have said that what they liked so much about the book is that it like subverts kind of genre expectations. So like this is like kind of a thrill, kind of a crime, kind of neo-noir thriller. Also like quasi-Western.
Yeah.
But they loved that Anton and Llewellyn like don't have like a final face off. Like Llewellyn just dies and like Sheriff Bell is rolling up on it. And then like Sheriff Bell rolls up on it and then like he talks to a different sheriff of like that county at like a diner. And then
Yeah.
Sheriff Bell is like, I'm gonna go back to the crime scene. And then he goes back to the crime scene. And he knows that Anton has been there. Because like the lock is blown out. And Anton, this confused me because Sheriff Bell goes into the room and Anton, they cut to a shot of Anton hiding behind something, but I don't know if it's in that room or a different room.
That was also confusing. I don't know if that was a flashback or if that was the sheriff thinking he might be there or if that was... I thought it was cutting to... I thought it was supposed to be a misdirect. I thought Anton was actually at Carla Jean's house or motel.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't, though. I mean, he gets there eventually, but...
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah. But it's basically like Anton gets to Llewellyn late, like when all the action's already gone down, which like in a normal movie like this, like I think there would be like a final face off.
Just an exchanging of ideals, because I think
they should sit down over a cup of joe.
I would love to see that, though. Like, I just think both of their minds are fascinating, and I want to explore them deeper, and I just kind of want to know what makes them tick. I guess that's what makes them interesting, is that we don't know, but whatever.
They do have that great phone call scene, though.
Yeah, that scene's really good.
Where that I think Llewellyn ends the call with like, you just made the top of my list of like. No, he's like, you just became a personal project of mine.
Yeah.
It's such a cool line, but also so specific to like how he would say it.
Yes. So he's kind of a goofy guy a little bit. Like when he gets visited at the hospital, he's like, what's this guy supposed to be, the ultimate badass or something? What is his plan? So when he says, I'm going to make you a personal project, says that to Anton.
Yeah.
Because now he's pissed. Anton's going to go after Llewellyn's wife.
Yeah.
What's he doing? What's his plan? Because he just goes to another motel. I don't really get what his idea is.
It's a good point. I don't know if he really has a plan. I think he's like, Anton's trying to find him, so it's maybe like the idea is to trap him somehow. Because he knows Anton's coming for him.
But he's not. Anton says straight up, he says, you know where I'm going, right? I'm going
that's true.
to where your wife is.
That's true.
And it's chilling, but
yeah.
you wonder, like, because I don't know. I just don't know what either of their plans really are.
Yeah.
Llewellyn's just kind of fumbling around.
Yeah.
He goes to another motel, and then just die. And then that's it. That's the last we see of him.
Yeah. Speaking of the way Llewellyn talks, I love the way Anton gets pissed about, like, he's such a like a creature of like concision. He's like, everything should be concise. You should do things very purposefully.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so when people kind of like are speaking and saying things that are like cliche or stupid, or like saying, just using too many words to say something, he's like, you could see him getting annoyed. Like in the gas station scene with that guy, the guy says a bunch of things that are like, feel very like Texan, and he comes to Texas and he's just like, these fucking people, I can't, like, the way they talk, the way they like live, I can't fucking stand it.
Pissed tourist. He's like, these fucking Texans.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it, because we could break down that gas station scene for literally hours, but when the cashier mentions that he inherited the store from his father-in-law, Anton is pissed. Why? Like, there's so many little character nuances where I'm just like, why does he think that?
He's like, so you married into it? He's like, yeah, my father-in-law, like, he's like, so you married into it.
So you married into it. It's like, why does that make you so upset? I don't get it. Like, it makes him interesting, you know. But I want to know.
I don't know. Like, I guess you could see that as like a choice that the gas station attendant wasn't making, and like that pisses Anton off because he's such like a free will fate guy. I don't know. But he also seems like he is like a representation of the randomness of the universe. And like, so like a random like decision that this guy didn't make, Anton would like, right? Or I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. And then when he wins the coin toss, I don't know, it's just so funny. Anton's like, don't put it in your pocket. Don't put it in your pocket. It's lucky coin.
Yeah.
And then he gives him like a little like a little wink face, just like a like he's your fun uncle or something. I don't know. He's just so fun to watch, and every single thing he says, it's just so captivating.
If I saw a guy that looked like Anton walk into anywhere I was, I would leave that place.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Even in 1980, when that haircut was like probably more normal.
Yeah.
I still would have left. Like,
yeah.
Nope. This guy is bad news.
This guy's bad news bears.
Yeah, and then there's that, just like with the way he gets annoyed by the things that people say, like, and do. The scene where Clara Jean's like kind of final scene where she's like, you don't have to do this. He's like, why do people always fucking say that? He's like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not, and I feel like he's almost like, I'm not really like, I'm not the one doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I think he feels
you
that.
are. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
God, this movie's so good.
Yeah. It is good. Anything else? I think I've had my fill. Woody Harrelson, we didn't mention.
He's good. He's always good.
Shout out to Woody. He's in every movie that's ever been made. He's in it for 15 minutes, and he's always fantastic. So
yeah,
they drink a lot of milk. Again, milk seems to be a recurring theme.
I love that detail too, where it's like they go into Llewellyn, like Sheriff Bell and his deputy go into Llewellyn Moss's trailer, and like Anton Chigurh was just in there.
Yeah,
and he like took a jug of milk out of the fridge and he sets it on the table, and then he leaves, and then Sheriff Bell and the deputy come. And then Sheriff Bell sees it and he's like, oh no, that is infuriating.
Milk still sweating. Like, do you think that's his thing? Like, he has to leave a signature or something behind at every scene? Because he leaves the little peanut wrapper at the gas station.
Right.
Like why does he leave a trail of himself? I don't know why. I just think it's interesting that he does it.
Yeah, yeah. Just the last thing I'll say. This movie, so Dark Knight comes out a year later.
Oh.
So this comes out in 2000. No Country
Where
for
is
Old
this
Men's
going?
2007. Dark Knight. I'm sorry that every movie I watch comes back to Christopher Nolan. I
Oh
hate to be
no.
that guy, but
Don't do it.
I
Okay,
just think
go.
he's the greatest artist to ever live. Um,
Fine.
the Dark Knight comes out a year later, and the Dark Knight, you got Two-Face, the coin thing,
Oh, you think they
and
borrowed from this?
I don't think they borrowed. I mean, because Harvey Dent has that in like the comics.
Yeah.
But then even the Joker is like truly a random character that just does things. Like he's like a force of nature. He's
Yeah.
not even like
You
you
could
cannot
draw.
pin down why he does things.
Yeah. You could
And
draw
I
a
did.
lot of similarities.
Why was it in the air that people are like that like art like filmmakers are like thinking about like fate and destiny and also like randomness and like how violence is like feels so like I don't know. It's just interesting. It's like thinking about
It's,
chaos and randomness.
I think probably because of how intimidating it is. I think that's the only thing that's truly scary in a movie where it affects me in real life. For example, like Michael Myers isn't scary. He's scary in the context of the movie, but I'm not worried Michael Myers is going to come attack me on the street or in my house.
Right.
Anton Chigurh might. He represents a just the idea that any random person can be a psychopath, walk into your store and shoot you with pressurized air.
I don't know, man.
What? You don't think I'm going to get got?
I mean, I think you're courting Myers.
No.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. I just think it's interesting that like 2 consecutive years of filmmakers wrestling with like can we live in a truly
Society.
understand we live in a confusing world that makes no sense.
Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Should we talk
Yeah, take a swig.
about the Oscars that year?
Let's talk about the Oscars that year.
Javier does win Best Actor, deservedly so. No, that's not true. No, does he wins Best Supporting. He wins Best Supporting.
Oh, see, I was gonna say that feeds into my point that he's the main character, but okay.
Daniel Day won for
There he is.
he won for There Will Be Blood.
Okay. So, wow, probably a similar movie, right?
No, I mean
Okay.
they were the two like they were the movies that were neck and neck.
Okay.
So Best Picture nominees, No Country for Old Men obviously wins.
Congrats.
Other nominees include Atonement.
Blah.
We also have Juno.
Really?
Yeah,
That surprises me.
I think Diablo Cody actually won Best Original Screenplay for Juno.
Cool.
Is that correct? Let me check.
I don't know.
It up for a second. Yep.
Yep.
Diablo Cody won for Best Original Screenplay.
Sweet.
And then we have Michael Clayton starring George Clooney.
Who the hell's that?
It's a movie that
No,
filmed.
who's George Clooney?
It's a Michael Clayton is a movie that film Twitter is like obsessed with, and I've been meaning to watch for years. A law firm brings in its fixer, who is Michael Clayton, played by George Clooney, to remedy the situation after a lawyer has a breakdown while representing a chemical company that he knows is guilty in a multi-billion-dollar class action suit.
Whatever.
Directed by Tony Gilroy, who would later go on to showrun Andor, the Star Wars show on Disney Plus.
Oh my god.
A great show. Have you seen
Okay.
Andor? Andor fucks.
No, I have not.
Those Star Wars shows are kind of hit or miss, but Andor is really good.
Cool.
And the final one is There Will Be Blood, a masterpiece. What can I
Short
say?
list.
So those are the nominees. Do you think No Country for Old Men is Best Picture worthy?
Oh yeah. I don't think it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think it's definitely worthy of the ask.
It's definitely at the top of my list. Not
really?
the very top, but it's like it's near the top. It's like top 3. Shall we read some reviews?
So there were a lot of great online reviews that I found. A lot of good ones. I just want to read one.
It's
because
7,000 words.
It's not that long, but it is long, and I thought I'm just gonna stick with this one.
Okay.
So give me the name of somebody who just wrote a little much.
Fucking Charles Dickens.
Charles fucking Dickens says 3 stars.
Okay. That's not what I was expecting.
What kind of Wattpad 5th grade short story middle school writing fuck up is this shit? I think that's single-handedly one of the funniest, controversial, and probably worst ways to end a movie. When I do it, everyone hates it, but when No Country for Old Men does it, everyone goes wild. I sense favoritism here. I deserve better. I started reading the book, but I found it was incredibly dry. It had no quotations for dialogue, so I gave up on page 8. The movie seems relatively dry too, but I'm only about half an hour in.
Huh?
So this is about the ending, but didn't finish the movie, so I'm confused. Notice how the good guy, Llewellyn, is hot, and the bad guy, Sugar, is incredibly unsettling and ugly. I think it's because of his horrifying haircut. It's so bad. I had a panic attack when he first came on screen. Okay.
Are they okay?
On topic of the actors, Woody Harrelson looks exceptionally young. At least a lot younger than my image I have of him. Sugar's weapon has me thinking. What is it? Is it pressurized oxygen?
Is this like live? Are they writing a review live? Like, what the fuck? Like, while it's happening?
Honestly, that makes sense. That's what I thought at first. Is it just a gun with a muffler over it so it doesn't sound loud? I'm not sure.
A silencer.
And damn, does he really need 2 million so bad? Is it even that worth it for being hunted by one of the smartest killers that the town has ever seen? Back to other aspects of the plot. ... It kind of picked up a bit after we found the tracker and the money. Also, being shot always adds great suspense. I'm being sarcastic mostly. It just kind of died again after Llewellyn, spoiler alert, died. I was kind of lost, and the rest of the film felt kind of pointless. I don't understand the name of the movie. Why can't old men have country? Petition for some silly old guys to have a plot of country land. And also, none of the men are old in this movie, so I'm sure they could have some country. In the end, I wouldn't recommend watching. I was pretty bored the whole time. Llewellyn gave me hope because he had that rustic, masculine cowboy look that is incredibly sexy. But yeah, well, after he, died, I lost the courage and the urge to quit watching. That's a lie. I harbored this urge from the very beginning. I should have watched the Star Wars documentary on Disney Plus.
Empire of Dreams, because that rules.
I guess. I don't know. And scene.
That was fucking crazy. That's a roller coaster, truly.
That was... I don't know what to make of it. I love everything that you said. I resonate with that very much. And I agree wholeheartedly. Old men deserve some country.
Oscar Wieners supports that review.
100%. Absolutely.
Oh shit. I just realized I don't have a movie picked out for next week.
Let's do Gigi.
Fuck it. We're talking Gigi next week.
I don't know what it is about that. It's just I'm just like, what is that? It just sticks out to me.
So fucking a home, a motor car, servants, the latest fashions, the most eligible and most finicky bachelor in Paris offers them all to Gigi. But she, who's gone from girlish gawkishness to cultured glamour before our eyes, yearns for that wonderful something money can't buy.
Oh, I'm either going to love this or despise this.
Yeah, this is either going to be really good or fucking stupid.
Okay,
Directed by Vincent Minnelli. Liza Minnelli's father, I believe.
Of course.
Anyway, yeah, so we're talking Gigi next week. Probably another fucking musical.
No, I don't think so.
God, I hope not.
Send me the bill.
All right, tune in next week. We'll be talking about Gigi.
Gigi.
And stay greasy, wieners.
That's a good one.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white, maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners.
Makes you think.
Makes you thunk.
Boy, it really makes you stink.